And today on Coffee and Conversation with your girl Shakenya, when you get a minute, go to that YouTube channel Shakenya and hit subscribe, guys. Look at some of the videos, and if you see anything that you like, just hit share. Leah, is that my sister Leah? If not, I got a sister named Leah. How you doing, Leah? Good morning. Hey, Hard Grove Damon, what's going on, my brother? Thanks for checking in. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, TikTok. How y'all feel? So y'all, today, we're getting back to the psychological damage. I'm trying to get you guys ready for your test. So we're covering all the facets of disorders. We're talking about how some of them probably originated as a result of a child being removed from you, you not having a relationship with your baby no more, as a result of a parent just taking a child out your life. So we discussed a lot of that. So we keep going back to the psychological damage. And the other day we dipped into the mindset or the psychological damage of the child that was removed from the parent for no reason whatsoever. No abuse, no neglect. Because I'm not going to say no reason whatsoever, because obviously the other parent had a reason. I know, because if it wasn't abuse or neglect, what reason could it possibly be for you to just disconnect the child from a parent? Meaning they don't even go over there no more, they don't call them, they don't talk to them, you don't call them, you don't tell them what's going on with the baby. So yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. My bad. Yeah, so today we're going to try to dip into the psychological damage of maybe the children that's left behind, and maybe a little bit of the parent who the child was removed from. Yeah, we might get into that a little bit. So today we're going to peek back into it, and let's start off with the children that was left behind and discarded. Now those two words, we just heard those two words the other day. When we were talking about the definition of abandonment. Yeah, we just talked about that. So let's put that on the list of something that's new and has happened now with children that has been separated from their sibling for no reason whatsoever. Let's throw that in there. So when a child is removed, you stop letting them go over there for the weekend. You don't let them call their parents. You don't call the parent to keep them abreast of what's going on with the baby. It's just an instant disconnect. So they don't have the opportunity to have a good, healthy relationship with the other parent. They should be spending just as much time as you. Because if y'all was living together, y'all would have equal opportunity and equal time to spend with that parent, right? Because y'all would be living in the same house. So yeah, just because y'all not together, y'all got to find a way to break that baby up in sections to where y'all both, like our arrangement up until she was 15 and a half was, she go over there for the weekend and half the summer. And when she was over there for the summer, I was over there going to see her. I was dropping her off food. I was doing something as a mom just because she was over there for the summer. We stayed in the same district area, so it wasn't a big deal. And I took her to school Monday through Friday. That's a good arrangement to have. Any parent that's sharing a child, if you got a stable place, stable environment, able to get the baby to school and the baby's able to stay in the same, whatever the case may be, if that's more convenient, and then you get them on the weekend type thing, y'all should be able to work that out to where y'all both have a healthy relationship with that baby, right? So for it to be an instant disconnect, when I dropped my baby off, it was an instant disconnect. There is no way after 15 and a half years that there should have been an instant disconnect, meaning no calls, nothing. The only call I got from him was him asking me the next day if I can take her to school. Now here it is, I've been getting her to school. She was on her way to her 11th grade year at Cass Tech High School. I've been able, no matter what the circumstances were, no matter what we were going through, no matter what I was able to get that girl to school on time. She maintained a 4.0 grade point average. My other daughter had a decent, good grade point average. They both had certificates and awards, and they were both involved in sports. Like, we have been doing this for so long. Everything was just a fine running system. Remember I talked about you got to have a system when you're raising your children. Fine running system, right? Why fight so hard to get her, and you don't even have a system for her to maintain this grade point average, for her to maintain this perfect attendance? You have no way of even getting her to school, but you fought me so hard by using this baby against me to where there is no connection. Fix it, Jesus. So this is where I struggle. So let's get into the damage of the parent, because when he called me Should I have just bowed down and took her to school, knowing that this was not the arrangement, this was not the setup, this was not what I wanted, this was not the best thing for the child? Just to be a part of her life, demean who I am, devalue myself, stoop to his level, allow him to run. Should I? Or did I handle it all wrong and say no? Because that's what I did. I said no. I said, you get her to school. You fought so hard. You get her to school and you get her to practice. Since you think it's so easy to do, you want to be me so bad. You want to take my place. You've turned her against me to where she don't even want nothing to do with me. You did all of this. Now you got her. You get her to school and you get her to practice. Let me let you see how easy that shit is. You do that. But I think that might have been the wrong approach to take as a parent. Right? Remember I talked to you about the seeds of co-parenting? Maybe there should have been some type of compromise. Maybe me thinking that I'm bowing down could have been mislabeled, and maybe I could have looked at it as being something else and sugarcoated it and just try to deal with the situation. No. I've worked too hard as a mom. Did I tell you all the stuff that I did the other day? when we talked about failing your children, and then we went over the list, and how when I went over my list, how I never have, like, why must I build myself up so high and come so far and have done so much to be belittled because someone has not healed, because someone has not moved on, because someone has not. No, that ain't right. That ain't how life goes. That's definitely how I don't want her to see me. Even though I don't know how she sees me now, considering there's no relationship. Because let me backtrack from yesterday. Even though we closed yesterday's segment out about failing your children, do you know that although these are all things that can fail your kids, I know people that have done all of those things, have failed their children in all of those ways, and yet and still they still have a relationship with their child. Let me say that to you again. Me, never failing. Had a C in 2 areas, but never fell. But parents have failed their child in all of these areas, but yet and still they still have a relationship and a connection with their children. You got to explain that to me. You got to explain that to my children. You got to make that make sense to me. How does that happen in this time, in this day and time? How does that happen, right? So, yeah, so not having a relationship with your baby, the struggle with me as far as how I should have handled that. Because not to have no relationship, nothing. I don't understand that. Because usually the mother is a big deal. Being a mom is a big deal. It's always ask your mom, where's the mother? Get the mother's permission. Respect your mother. Love your mother. Forgive your mother. You only get one mother. You have to love and cherish your mother. That's in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these things were taught to me as I was being raised by both sides of my family. So I thought these were things that you teach your children, right? So obviously this was never taught on that side to mine for it to be like this, and I don't know how it was not. Like I said, we didn't have anybody in our life. It had to have been taught, because I don't know anybody in his life that disconnected from their mother. Yeah, everybody I know that he knows, that I know of, have a relationship with their mom. Everybody on my side of the family have a pretty good, healthy relationship with their mom, and these are the women that I've learned from on how to be a mom. So therefore, and then I got a connection with the other children. Something is not right here, people. Something, 2 and 2 ain't 7. I don't know. Something is not adding up here. I know. So now we're going to go and focus on those children that were left behind. And the relationship, they just disconnected. They have nothing, just woke up one morning and that other child was not there, no longer there. They have nothing. No reason, no goodbyes, no conversation later, no. So to know, and what if, because we're what ifing now, what if that other child that was removed have other siblings with the parent that removed them, right? And they have relationships with them, but not relationships with the other parents' children, with the others. How do you do that? How do you teach family values, and how do you teach this child to have a relationship and love this one sibling. But so how do those other children that were discarded feel? Maybe they not good enough, maybe? You think they might start feeling like that? How about their confidence? Confidence is probably shook, depending on what role they play. Were they older? Were they younger? Were they supposed to look up to this child? Were they supposed to be teaching this child? Like, what role did they play in this child's life as far as, you know, the dynamics of the relationship? What about their self-worth? That's probably going to be questioned. Yeah, and you know depression is rolling in, right? We talked about that because the child has suffered a loss. Yeah, all of a sudden you had a sibling and now you don't. Sibling's still alive and well, but there's nothing, just a total disconnect. Yeah, that's a loss. And you know that usually triggers drug abuse and drug addiction, alcohol abuse, addiction. Yeah, that usually follows right behind that with the depression, especially if it's not being treated. I know all this just from a child being removed, and there's no abuse or neglect. The hardest bond to break is between a mother and a daughter. Yeah, I know daughters usually favor their dads more. Yeah, they're probably daddy's little. Most little girls are daddy's little girls. Yeah, they usually favor dads more if dads are in their life and a part of their life. But the bond, the relationship between a mother and daughter, that's the hardest bond to break. That's the hardest bond to break. Because I know mothers that have been abusive to their daughters. I know mothers that have abandoned their daughters. I know mothers that have given their daughters up for adoption. I know mothers that don't want nothing to do with their daughters, but their daughters still want them. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. So, fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. And usually, the hardest bond to break is between siblings that were raised in the mother's home or raised in a home together. Think about it. My sister just jumped in. I love my sister to death. But I'm not as close to my sister as my little brothers is. They all got the same mama. They was raised together. I love their relationship. They is so close. You know what I mean? I mirrored their relationship to how I raised my children. Yeah, looking at my other siblings that my dad had with his former wife, which is my bonus mom, the relationship that they have is so loving and caring. They so close. They always do it. I love them. You know what I'm saying? So that bond is hard to break. Hard to break. So like for my situation, for her to be pulled from a home with children that she was raised up with and then have a total disconnect from them, imagine how my kids feel and not knowing the reason why. So, to try to put you in that mind space, imagine if it was you. Yeah, imagine you just woke up one morning and your sister was gone or your brother was gone and you had no relationship, no nothing, you ain't heard from them, you don't know how they doing. Now, mind you, you grew up in a loving household. Fix it, Jesus. You grew up in a loving household. You grew up in your mom's house with your brothers and your sisters, and all of a sudden one of your siblings' daddy decided to take this sibling away, and all of a sudden you don't hear from your sibling no more. How would you feel? What would you do? How would you handle it? Right? So we're going to go back to them seeds that be planted when we talk about those manipulation tools. Yeah. Now, when you plant those seeds grow. Yeah. Now, the thing is, if you catch it. So I give you an example of a seed growing or a seed being planted. Let's just say your baby mama or your baby daddy is talking bad about you in front of the child to somebody else, right? Let's say your child go back and tell you. So as a result of you knowing that they doing this, you check them. So when you check them, as a result of you checking them, they don't do it no more. So I'm not going to say they don't talk about you still. They just don't do it in front of the baby. But by them not doing it in front of the baby no more, your respect is restored if it was ever taken away or whatever. Or respect is given at that time. And not only is respect given, but your role is still intact, right? And they probably not going to do that no more. But just imagine if they're talking about you and you don't know they're talking about you. So this baby grows up, and as this baby grows up, whatever narrative, whatever bad things they say about you, whatever it is, this is what is being instilled in this child as this child grows without your knowledge, behind your back. So now this child is forming an opinion about you. That is the same with these peoples that's poisoning your baby and planting these seeds. So now it ain't nothing you can really do. Pretty much. You pretty much now lost the fight. Especially if you ain't know you was in one. Alright. So let's say they start bad. We covered that. You don't know, you can't do nothing about it. We covered that. Usually, because it grows so big, it's up to the child to cut it down. Because, see, you've been cut out the baby's life, so you can't penetrate, you can't get through the tree, you can't do nothing. The other parent definitely ain't going to help you cut the tree down, because they planted the seed. They want that tree to stay there, they want that distance to stay there, they want that relationship to stay the way that it is, which is non-existent. So they definitely ain't going to, so it's going to be up to that child, and that's when the child usually grows up and goes to therapy. But it's up to that child to pay for that tree to be cut down, remove the stub. It's all on weight on, we put all that weight on that child to make that happen and do that. Yeah. So therefore, usually that don't happen unless it's a health concern. Let's say something runs in your family that don't run in the other family. Let's say the child has it. Now it's a life or death situation, and now they need to know the other side of the family because they need to know the history, this medical issue that they're struggling with. And the only person that can save them is the person on the other side of the family who they disconnected from, or the death of that parent. So how should children feel that live with this loss with no reason, no explanation for why? Connection just gone like they never had one. Relationship gone like they never had one, like it never existed. Like, I don't know how that can happen. How would you feel if you grew up loving this person in a loving household and all of a sudden you experience this loss? How would you handle it? How would it affect you? With the loss, not knowing why, because if there was no abuse or neglect, what is the real reason that the child will have? Like, if there's no real, because I'm trying to stay to the script, y'all, because it was a lot that I wrote down. But if there's no abuse or neglect, what real reason he or she has to not have a connection with their siblings that they once had one with? You got to explain all that. So whatever mind space you in right now, as you think about if it's happening to you or if it has happened to you, that's all the psychological damage that's caused when that child is removed for no reason whatsoever. Other than that parent being hurt, scorned, having healed from the relationship, still angry and bitter, still have feelings for you. Whatever the case may be, unresolved issues, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all that contributes to all of this. Yep. So y'all, that's it for Coffee and Conversation with your girl Shakenya. We're still diving into psychological damage. I'm trying to get you ready for your test. So I hope y'all been studying. And I'm out, y'all. I gotta go to work.